Hey artists, today we're going to be using some different materials. We'll start out with black paper and we'll use white drawing materials. We're going to be looking at how to give the illusion of a specific kind of light. It's a great fall time project and I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Okay, we're starting out with our black paper today and I've got an assortment of white drawing materials so that you can find some at home or in the classroom. When I use colored pencils, sometimes I grab several from our bin that might be different brands. They tend to either be brighter or more dull, and I always sharpen both sides so that if I use up one side, I can flip it over to the other side before having to get up to sharpen again. I found a little twistable. You might have those at home. We have Craypas here in the classroom, which are oil pastels, and then a couple of different white crayons from different crayon boxes. So they may end up all working a little differently, but either of those or any of those will work for us today. So the first thing that we're all gonna do together is practice some drawing skills by following along with me, and we're going to create a tree as part of our composition. Now you can draw your tree any style that you want, but I want you to take some time to think about the shape of a fall tree, which may have had its leaves already fallen. So the first thing I'm gonna do is draw one side of our tree, and it'll kind of have some wavy lines. And this would be the part of the tree trunk. And then we'll go to where the roots of the tree are. Pause the video anytime you need more time, and then you can move on when you're ready. The other side of the tree is gonna just be almost the same thing, but your tree can be any shape that you want. So a tree root here, part of the tree trunk, and then we're gonna want some branches. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same on both sides, because we know that's not how trees work. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is start on this side with the tree branch. So I'm gonna draw a line, a curved line that gets kind of wider. So it's a little bit thicker here than it is up here, and we're gonna stop there. At the end, we want it to branch out in two separate directions. So I like to use this V shape to kind of add some branches. And then I'll connect to those lines. All right, let's draw some other tree limbs. So let's have a big, maybe right here, we'll do the same thing. So this time we're gonna come out a little bit. It's gonna be always wider towards the tree trunk. So make it a little bit thicker. And now I'm gonna split this into two different limbs. So watch, I'm making that V shape. And then I'm gonna extend that, and I can even split those as well. So the technique to drawing tree branches, yours can look different from mine, but I just use those, a V shape, and then I connect my lines. Okay, I kind of want a branch to come that direction, so I'm going to use that another V shape here. Maybe put that branch going down. So every time I want to split my branch off, I just make a V. Let's do it again. And I like my tree to go off the edge of the page. That's called extension. It's looking pretty good. All right, let's come over and kind of finish up this side of our tree. I think I want this tree branch to come all the way down. And we'll split it with a V. We'll split it again. Anytime you want to split your tree branch, you're just using that V shape. I like those tree branches to go all the way off. So yours might look different from mine. That's okay. You can have more tree branches. You could add a limb that's falling down. Let's add some tree roots. So we're going to do kind of the same technique here. Upside down V shape. Upside down V shape. There's some tree roots. Okay, this is a great start. Once you have a tree in your composition, you're going to use the resource pages if you want to help give you some ideas of what other types of things could get added into your composition. All right, I used our resources to come up with my composition. I also wanted to take a look at creating the illusion of more space on the page. So one of the things I realized while I was working is that I wish I would have done my paper landscape so that I would have had a little more space to work with from side to side. So in order to kind of work with that, I used our skills from the last lesson and created these horizon lines here that give that illusion of those hills so that I could have a little more space going back. So I encourage you to either turn your paper horizontally before you begin, or as you work, use those horizon lines to create the illusion of hills. And then of course we remember those skills to give some depth, so things that are farther into the background are going to be smaller, and as things come forward into the foreground, they're going to be larger, even maybe oversized for my spooky drawing here. Once you get to this point, it's time to use your other resource with the flashlight, and you're going to need to choose which flashlight you want to use. So one is a little bit smaller and one is larger, and we're going to get those cut out. So I have my two flashlights cut out, and I wanted to take a look at the different sizes. We are creating the illusion of light today using the contrast between our black background and the white paper. It's going to look really bright, like we're shining that flashlight on our scene by the time we're done with it. The larger flashlight is obviously going to cover and also give the illusion of a bigger space of light, and the smaller one might just highlight one little area of your picture. So decide which one you want to use. I think I'll go ahead and use the larger one. I kind of want mine to extend off the page, like someone might be holding on to it from outside the scene. This sharp edge here does not help our illusion, so we need to kind of round that and blend it like a spotlight would look. So we're just going to take our scissors and round that off. And the dotted line here was for you to cut along. You can trim that off if you like a little more, or you can leave it there. All right, now that I have my illusion starting by cutting out my flashlight, I have the contrasting paper white to black. I need to decide which part of the picture I want to make it look like it's being lit up. So I could shine the light on my little furry friends down here, I could shine the light on the spider, or I could shine the light somewhere behind the trees and illuminate that. Once you've picked out a spot for your flashlight to go, it's nice to take a pencil and just lightly trace where that's going to be in case it moves around. So use one hand to hold that still and just go around it so that when you move it, you can see what you're going to be illuminating. here's the tricky part of this project. So what you're going to do now is you're going to draw with your pencil the parts that are going to be lit. So you can kind of lift the piece to check. So we've got just the head of this little friend. I would press lightly while you're still working out those details. All right, so you want to make sure that when you've colored it in, you've colored in the flashlight as well as the entire white space. You want it to be really bright and colorful so that we have that illusion that we're shining the light on that part of our picture. And then you can kind of position it where it needs to go. Use a little bit of glue stick on the back to get that stuck down. What I like to do at the very end is take a yellow marker, yellow colored pencil, or a yellow crayon and add a little bit of yellow right here in the flashlight and up onto the picture. So I'm making these lines here because typically our flashlights will give that kind of yellow glow. So I'm just going to draw right over top so that it has kind of that yellow glow effect.